Hi everyone, good morning. This is my name is Olanrewaju Fanimo. This is a Lotus Yoga stakeholder heart brief. It's a project that was delivered to Lotus Yoga. I am a representative of HID Pro. We are a project management company, and we have this responsibility of providing some important features of the interior of this new facility called Lotus Yoga. And in this first slide, I have HID Pros is a reputable project management company, and we have been saddled with the responsibility of delivering some vital interior component for the new Lotus Yoga facility in Valparaiso, Indiana. So I'm going to be talking about the three major deliverables that is expected of us for this new facility. So yeah, I have the first deliverable is five appropriately sized front desk computers for administrative and business purposes. And on each computer, we have to install a Microsoft Office application, which is going to facilitate the work and mode of operation of this new facility. And each computer is going to be a desktop computer, not a laptop. And we plan to have like 17 or 15 or 17 inches of computer. So we want it to be a desktop because we don't want it to be moved all about. We want it to be stationary on the administrative desk as possible as it can be. And after that, we have the second deliverable as three front desk check-in stations with barcode readers that will be running a gym assistant. So the purpose of this is to be able to check in customers and check out customers as they use this facility. And the gym assistant application will enable every customers to have their names and their information registered in the database of this Lotus Yoga company nationwide so that they can be able to access this facility any part of the country they are. So it is recommended that this station be sectioned in cubicle, which is not a part of the scope anyway. We recommend that Lotus Yoga should consider having a cubicle to house the front desk check-in stations, but it is not part of our scope, so we don't have that as a part of our deliverables. So the third deliverable is the Wi-Fi network that will allow yoga instructors use the internet-based music and video streaming services. In the use of a gym, we know how important it is for a gym facility to have the Wi-Fi system in place so that the Wi-Fi, the music, the streaming, and everything is going to facilitate the operation of the gym. Members, customers, we like to assess what is going on, and even the instructors, we want to see the latest technique that could be done, that could be utilized for effective physical exercise. And that's why the Wi-Fi is a very, very top importance in this facility. So to ensure that all of those projects were delivered as planned, then we have to consider everything that it entails. And first here, I'm going to be talking about the project charter. The project charter is a document that shows the scope of the project, the objective of the project, and various participants or professionals that is required for this project. The major consideration in project charter is the business case. Like we see, the business case we talk about every aspect of the project, what is needed to achieve every milestone, and who should do what in achieving all those milestones. So in this project, the project charter evaluates the action of HID pros on the pilot angel scheduling system pass. Here, the scope of the project was defined, the goals and objective, and the metrics that are involved in the project were as well defined. A new business case will always have a new goal and a new risk possibly involved. So over to the next slide. Next slide is talking about the project scope statement. In the project scope statement is the actual place we will be talking about the project, what it takes, what it's going to take, what is going to be required for all the deliverable. Everything that should be delivered at the closing of the project will be discussed, and the services that are to be rendered for these deliverables to be delivered. So in delivering our deliverables, we have some that are within the scope and some that are outside of the scope. We call them in scope and out scope. For our in scope are those three basic things I just talked about now. Our out scope are those things that might be part of the project deliverables, but it was not included in our scope because the user don't want us to provide it. Probably they have a way of doing it as well. An example is the cubicle. Cubicle is not part of our deliverable, but we suggest that they get a cubicle. It's going to be of a good importance to them. So in the project scope also, we define the goal of the particular project and the objective of that particular project to ensure productivity, to limit cost, and by enhancing appropriate scheduling. And the key metrics will also be defined in the scope statement. So the next slide talks about a project schedule. In the project schedule, we have 6 basic phases that will be considered from the start of the project to the end of it. Now, the first thing I have here is the initiation. In the initiation phase, that is where the thought arises that, oh, we have to do this, we need to do this, who do we contact, how do we start? Those are things that were done in the initiation stage. They contacted people, project managers, project sponsor, they put people together and the meeting starts on how we can achieve this stated project. And now, after the meeting has been done, we move over to the planning stage. After everybody has been called together, the planning stage entails the place where drafting is being done, drawings are being made, and scopes were defined, design cases were done towards what should be delivered, towards what is expected by every professionals that are involved. So after the planning has been put in place, then we move over to the execution stage. Execution is where the project will be performed, and every phases will be done, every milestones will be covered in the execution stage. And when the execution is fully done, then we move over to the testing stage. The testing stage is where the project is being tested to ensure it is reliable enough for it to be delivered, and for every box to be fixed before it is delivered to the user. And after that, we move over to the monitoring and controlling. In the monitoring and controlling is where the project is delivered to the user, and it is monitored to ensure that the user are well satisfied with what they received. And after that, we close the project. And in closing the project, we consider all that is done from the start, initiation to the monitoring and controlling where the project is delivered, and we record and document everything that is observed, good and bad, and things that we can improve upon and things that we did very right, and we record them and put them. We archive those information for future use to ensure that we were able to do a more better job in subsequent projects. And now after that, we talk about the project budgets. We know how important budgets are for anything. We budget our time, we budget our money. And in the case of this project also, we have budgeted a 72-day of work for this project. And the total working hours is going to be 1,608 hours of consistent work. And we have some significant dates. The project is scheduled to start on the 11th of February 2019 by 8 o'clock in the morning, and it should end at on the 21st of May 2019 by 6 p.m. in the evening. And the cost estimated for this project is 125,597 and 12 cents. So the next slide is talking about project quality plan. In the project quality plan, we have to be sure of what we want to deliver to the customer, to the user, so that our quality will always be assured in all we do. Now we have 3 things to consider in project quality plan: the quality planning itself, the quality assurance, and the quality control. We have to plan for what kind of quality we want to deliver to our client, to our user, and we have to be sure that every part of this milestone were done to the best quality as possible as we can. And we have to ensure that that quality is being monitored until it is delivered to the user, and that's the quality control. And the fourth part of this quality plan, project quality plan, is the independent verification and validation. It is not really applicable to this project, but it could be applicable for a more complex project that could be having some very high risk involved. So it is to take care of that situation, and to that purpose it is made for. So the next slide I have here is project risk register. In registering the project risk, we already highlighted every possible risk that could be faced at the cost of this project. And some risks are very, very important to take care of, and some are just, they don't have much impact on the project, and they could be very, very superfluous. They could be very, very insignificant. But a project risk can be very significant if it has a very high risk value. And consider the high risk value, we need to consider the impact the risk is going to have on the project and the probability that the risk is going to occur. For example, we talked about the risk of customer not being satisfied with the project that is being delivered to them. Now, we know this could be a very, very impactful risk on this project. So we tend to create an avenue for us to correct that before it surfaces. And what we plan to do is to make sure that we make sure all the user, at least a representative, is part of every part of execution, so that they will know that this is what we want to do after this, and this is next after that, so that they will know that truly these people are really doing what is expected of them, so that by the time we deliver the project, that risk will not surface at all. So that is one of the risks that we have highlighted and we will take care of. So now to the next slide. Next slide is talking about project communication plan. There is a way we have to communicate with every team members, every stakeholders in the execution of this project. Now, some stakeholders we need to meet with one-on-one and on a weekly basis, some on a daily basis. And in doing that, we have to follow this plan that has been highlighted for us. Like the project sponsor, maybe we only meet with them once in a week. We can do that through the email. We can do that through a telephone conversation. But team members, team leaders, project manager, these are the people that can meet together at least every day, if not every day, every other day. And it should be a one-on-one meetings, preferable at the location of the project. Now the next I say project implementation plan. In the project implementation plan is where the project is being planned step by step to be implemented. And in the case of this project, we have chosen the parallel kind of implementation to be done. We will execute this project in a parallel way, not in a face-to-face stage implementation. It's going to be a parallel implementation in which a project does not, a milestone does not need to stop before another one starts. So it's going to be done simultaneously until the whole execution stage is completed. Now, the next slide here is about project lessons learned. Now, in project lessons learned, various lessons learned in all the stages of the project was mentioned, from the initiation stage to the closing stage. Every lesson that was learned, things that were done effectively, things that could be done more effectively, will all be mentioned in this project lessons learned, so that we will know that, oh, this is done right, this can be done much better than it is done, and it's going to help in future projects, and it's going to help in all our endeavors. Monitoring and controlling lessons learned was about how satisfied customers were over their deliverables, and that's the ultimate. When customers are satisfied with what you deliver to them, then you are good. You'll be happy, you'll be motivated to do anything for the next project you're about to do also. Now the next slide I have here is a summary of the project. HID Pros have been a very efficient company. We have delivered this project as expected of us, despite all the risk and situations surrounding the project environment. The actual cost was then less than what we proposed at first. Every professional were utilized to the maximum capacity. And to wrap it up, it is a thing of joy to announce that the project we delivered was well appreciated by the customers, and is a proof that this project has potentials beyond the present moment. Thank you. And we are HID Pros once again, and we love to deliver as we are expected. We love to do what is expected of us. Bye.